Hello there everybody, this is Caitlin from the World Travel, and thank you so much for joining me today. I'm going to be trying something new, this video blog thing, totally new to me, but we'll see how it goes. Today I'd like to talk about how to pack for your first backpacking trip. I will be going on my third backpacking trip tomorrow to the Manistee River Trail in Michigan. And I thought this would be the perfect opportunity to share with you some of the tips and tricks that I've learned, basically from trial and error. Things I wish I would have known before I went on my first backpacking trip. And just give you an idea of some of the things you'd like to pack, how you want to pack them, and things not to forget, stuff like that. So hopefully you find this helpful. And if you have any questions or suggestions, feel free to leave them in the comments. I'll be working on some dehydrator recipes and some more creative ways of backpacking on the cheap, because we all know some of the equipment and foods can be really expensive. So stay tuned for that. But for now, I hope you enjoy this. First thing I'd like to show you is some of the food and how I pack it. Right now, I'm kind of experimenting with my new dehydrator to try and find more healthy ways to eat while on the trail. Most of the foods that stay good without being refrigerated are really high in sodium and preservatives and all of that, and just aren't that tasty at all. So maybe next time I'll have an update for some of the better ideas I've come up with. I've seen some really good Pinterest articles on different recipes that you can make. But for now, I've just been kind of doing really easy things and it's worked. So first, I really like to use these drawstring bags. A lot of the places you go, these are good because your food you want to put up on the bear pole, and you need strings to do that with. So these work really well. They're really lightweight. If the place you are going has wildlife or doesn't have bear lockers and just has a bear pole, which my fiance found really fun to use the first time, by the way, then you might want something kind of like this. The top thing in my bag is such a healthy meal, ramen noodles. But it's really fast, really easy, and when you've been walking all day, it's nice to have something quick and easy. I usually like to do 2 bags, one for meals and then one for snacks. And then usually put the snacks, like if you're hiking with a companion, put the snacks in another person's bag and put the meals in one person's bag. That way you don't have to dig through your entire backpack to get out one of the bags if you just want like a granola bar or something. A lot of these meals that are like already prepared, all you need to do is add hot water, and we are going to be getting some evaporated milk to put with some of this. You don't really need the butter if it says it requires it. It makes it taste a little better, but it's not really trail friendly food. I've heard that ghee is really good as a butter substitute for backpacking, so you could try that. It's in usually the international food aisle. And then for breakfast, oatmeal, it's really like the way to go. It's really easy because you can usually tear off the top and pour the hot water into the packet and just eat it right from there, so you don't have to do any dishes in the river water or anything like that if you don't want to. And so basically we're going for 3 days, so we have enough meals for the 2 of us. Another thing that I've found, we haven't done this yet, but a lot of backpackers and forums I've been reading and videos say that tuna in a packet like this is really easy. It's a good way to get protein, and it doesn't need to be refrigerated. So I was thinking of mixing some of it with the Alfredo, although tuna's not really my thing, but I think after hiking for an entire day, I might just want something that's gonna fill me up. Of course, you always have to have your coffee in the morning, so I have the Folgers coffee singles. If I don't have it, I'll be in a not so good mood. You can find these at any grocery store. It's just like a tea bag. It has coffee in it. For coffee cups, we use the good old Solo cup. Just reuse it and rinse it out when you're done. You know, if you don't have the little oatmeal packets, you can always get your own oats, mix some brown sugar, a little bit of salt and cinnamon, and you have breakfast. And then like if you want to put some raisins in there or dried cranberries or anything like that, it's always a nice touch and helps to sweeten up your morning. Always do a lightweight bowl for meals if you need them. See, these are just kitchen bowls, but a lot of backpackers have nice little kits that fit together with cups and bowls and spoons and forks in it. I haven't really gotten that far yet, but it's definitely an option if you want something that's a little bit more compact and takes up less space. For now, these have worked, so we're just kind of going to stick with these. You might always want a rag to wash your dishes with and then hang up. That's helpful because you're going to be washing your dishes in the wilderness and you need something to do that with. Some lightweight spoons, we just wash them and use them every meal. Be sure to boil the water before you wash your dishes with it if you know you're not backpacking in a place that has water that you can drink right there by your campsite. Snacks. Now there will be times when you'll be walking along the trail and you don't want to stop, get out all the dishes and make a whole meal out of it. Hiking is really strenuous. You eat a little bit more throughout the day, little snacks if you can. I've been experimenting with my dehydrator, trying to make a little bit more healthy snacks for backpacking. You know, otherwise you're just eating like chips and processed foods the whole entire time. So I have made some banana chips and I'll be writing a post about it soon, so stay tuned for that. But these are really good because you can just pop them in your mouth as you're walking along. We've got some energy bars, peanut butter, always good to have something with peanuts or peanut butter because lots of protein, you want that along the trail, and these are quick and easy. I guess the only negative is that they have all these individual wrappers, but we just pack all of our garbage out and throw it away when we get back to civilization. And then I have some fruit bars. These are very cheap. You can buy them at Aldi. Same with all the other food basically that we're bringing with us. Get at Aldi or Meijer or Walmart or someplace like that. Always good to have some nuts. Roasted almonds. They're really filling, quick, and tasty, so that's a good option. And my pride and joy is the beef jerky that I made using my new dehydrator. Very easy, and I wanted something that didn't have to be refrigerated and that would give us a lot of protein throughout our trip. So I mean, they turned out really great. They taste better than the ones you buy in the store. I found that it's best to pack the heavier things in the bottom of the bag because there's a certain way you want to pack things in your backpack that's most comfortable and good for your back. So that's going to be with the heavier things lower and towards the middle. So try to do the same with your food bags. And of course, for your food, you're going to need a way to cook it. So we got the Jetboil. Hint, if you buy the camouflaged one, you save like $20. We got this on Amazon. You can get it at REI, any sports store, and really it's awesome. It's just a little canister here. You can buy these if you need refills, and you have the little stove that you can put together right at camp, and it's just you boil the water in here and then you can put it right back together when you're done with it. So I'm not going to show you how to use this. That's for a whole nother blog post entirely. It's not that hard, but it is very lightweight and you want to get a good one just because you can get some that really just aren't worth the money and don't work. So in the words of South Park, you always want to bring a towel. These can seem pretty heavy and unnecessary in a pack. A lot of people might say that, but I've just found them to be so useful. You never know if you're gonna find a nice spot you want to take a dip. You might need a towel or to wipe off something. You never know when you're gonna need a towel, so don't forget it. Also, you're definitely gonna want a water bottle. I really like the Nalgene bottles. You can get them on Amazon, again in REI or any outdoor store. What I like about these is they're simple, they're cheap, they're lightweight, and for a lot of the water purifying systems, you need something that is 1 liter. So these are just about a liter. So it's not too confusing to measure the water. And you can just either stick your tablet in or your purifier, and you're good to go. Another thing I would take along with you, especially if you are going to be hiking somewhere in the Midwest, in Michigan, Minnesota, Wisconsin, is a bug net. I got this on Amazon after my first hiking trip. I had wished I had one. I saw so many people hiking with them and I was like, why didn't anyone tell me? The mosquitoes were assaulting. Like, sometimes you can be in a high altitude area and not be worried about them, but they were very bad in the Upper Peninsula of Michigan, especially in some of the muddier areas, and it can really put a damper on your hike. So this is a face mosquito net. Basically, you can put it on a hat or just over your head if you want, and it goes around your head like this and keeps the mosquitoes from buzzing in your ears while you're walking or really bothering you altogether. Perhaps the most important thing you're going to want to bring with you. My fiance, the first time we went on a hike, he made fun of me. He's like, why are you getting all these band-aids and little things? We're not going to need that. That's silly. Well, he was silly because we did need it, and now I've perfected the first aid kit. I do have some extra batteries in here. This is for my water purifier. It's a UV light. So I put those in there. They don't really go with the rest of the things, but some of the other things that you could think about putting into your first aid kit: some gauze, some band-aids, Benadryl, Tums in case you have a stomach bug, ointment for cuts and burns and things, antibiotic, and some iodine pads in case you need to sterilize a wound or anything like that. You never know what can happen, so it may seem crazy, but it's not. Tylenol, painkiller, and things like that, just in case. Don't ever leave on a backpacking trip without your first aid kit, because the moment you do, you're gonna need it. Very lightweight, and rather be with it than without it. This is a new tool that we are bringing along this time. Hadn't used one last time because in the pictured rocks you can't have fires, but in the Manistee River Trail in western Michigan, we are able to have fires wherever we want. So we bought one of these fold-up saws where you can cut some dying branches or things like that to put in the fire. So you might want something like that. And you definitely want it to be able to fold up so it fits comfortably in your backpack. And then we have the SteriPen, which is a really nifty little thing. I haven't used yet, but I got it as a gift. So this purifies your water if you get it from the river or from a lake or something like that. This will purify it in less than a minute. So you just put it in the water, stir it around, and turn on the light, and it's done. So I'm really excited to see how this goes, but you always want to bring a backup. Water is a necessity, especially on the trail when you're walking a lot. You'll be really thirsty. So make sure you don't just have one method to count on. We also bring these Aquamira, very cheap, like $7 for these tablets, and there are 12 tablets in here. So each tablet purifies 1 liter of water, but it takes 4 hours. So we used this on our first backpacking trip. So we just took turns putting the tablet in our bottle, and then by the time we were done drinking one of the bottles, the tablet was done working in the other bottle. But 4 hours is a long time to wait, especially if you're doing a solo backpacking trip. You're gonna need more than just these tablets. So really now we've kind of turned these into our backup method. You're gonna want a little flashlight. This is dryer lint as well as paper towel and paper. Now I realize that dryer lint apparently is not the most eco-friendly way to make a fire. Apparently acorns are really good fire starters and you can find those all over the place. But you want some kindling just in case, because when you're backpacking there's mosquitoes, it's nighttime. Fire will really help to keep the bugs away and to keep you warm and comfortable. And then you have your toiletries. So in this bag I have face wash, toothbrush, deodorant. My oh so smart fiance forgot his deodorant last time. I was stuck in a tent with him. Don't do that. I have some sunscreen, toothpaste, lotion, hand sanitizer. Don't forget the hand sanitizer. That makes your hands feel very nice. After being super dirty, you will love having some hand sanitizer. Before you eat especially. Now for the fun stuff. If this is your first backpacking trip, this may come as a shock to you, but it will become very normal soon. You will want a shovel. This is going to help you to hide the evidence. And you'll want some baby wipes in the name of being sanitary. Some toilet paper. I always like to put my toilet paper in a Ziploc baggie just in case it gets wet somehow. You really don't want to be without this stuff. And the grossest part about it, another Ziploc baggie. This is for the toilet paper once it's been used. I don't know if this is what you wanted to know from this video, but I am giving you all of the tips, like I said. You can't leave used toilet paper and garbage out in the wilderness. It's just not right. So put it in this bag, and when you get back to civilization, dispose of it. Or you can burn it in the fire. You also may want to use a map or even like a description of the trail, because sometimes you can lose track of trail markers or signs. Some hiking trails aren't really that well marked, so make sure you have some kind of literature with you about where you're supposed to be going and what it looks like, or you know, something that can give you an idea if you start to feel a little turned around. I also got one of these. It's called a mantis chair. Basically, it's a really lightweight chair that some backpackers may say this is a waste of weight. But I think after a long day of hiking, your feet hurt, you just want to relax, you have a little flask that you're going to enjoy by the fire, it's nice to have a little chair to sit back on. This is my sleeping pad. Very small, very light, very compact. I spent a somewhat lot of money on backpacking gear for my first trip. The way I see it is, it's an investment. You spend the money now and then you can use it for years to come. You can go on a free trip. All you need to pay for is a park permit or something. You already have all the equipment. So I have this sleeping pad. It's really nice to not have to sleep on the ground. It's maybe about this thick, and you'd be surprised what this amount of thickness can do for your back when you lay down. This is my sleeping bag. It really has served me well so far. Be sure to get a sleeping bag that is pretty compact. Down feathers I have found have worked the best just because they're light. They get really compact. I like having a sleeping bag that goes around your head like this and has like a little hood type thing, because when you're hiking you don't really have space to bring a pillow or anything, so it's kind of the closest thing you're gonna get. And if it's really cold, it has drawstrings and you can close it up so that you can keep some of the warmth in the sleeping bag. I always like to put my clothes in a plastic bag like this, just because it's nice to have them all in one spot, not just dispersed throughout the backpack. And if your pack gets wet or something, then you have them with a protective layer of plastic around them. And then a headlamp is actually pretty helpful if you are walking and it's starting to get dark and you're not as far along the trail as you had thought you were, or you get up in the middle of the night and have to go to the bathroom or something like that. That way you have hands free. And then bug spray, of course, especially in Michigan, you're gonna want this. There's probably some more lightweight bottles you can find that might be better, but for now this is what we have. And last but not least, the tent. So this is actually pretty heavy compared to our other tent that we got, and it's kind of big, but this time we are bringing our little dog with us, and by little I mean 90 pounds. So we didn't want to have our 30 square foot rainbow tarp tent with us that she could possibly scratch with her nails. I didn't want to not have enough space for the three of us. Maggie is almost the same size as I am, so we really wanted to be comfortable, so we got another tent. Excited to see how this ends up working out, and it is still pretty lightweight. Our other tent for 2 people is 3 pounds, I believe. This is 7 pounds, so it's 50 square feet as opposed to the like 29 or 30 of our other tent. So really, I think it'll be worth it. It'll be a little bit more weight, but hopefully more comfortable at night. Next, I'd like to show you how to pack your backpack. There are a lot of ways to make it easier on your back while on the trail. And what I have found is that it's really more comfortable for me if I have a lot of the weight in the middle of the pack, so as close to your spine as possible, and a little bit lower, and then put like the lighter things around the outside and top of the backpack. Really, it's all about what's comfortable for you. The key is finding a backpack that fits you right as well, because you want one that ties around your waist, because you want most of the weight to be on your hips and not on your shoulders or your back at all. So make sure that it ties nice and tight around your midsection. It may feel kind of strange at first, but you don't want it tied around underneath your hips. You want it kind of above your hips, like right here, because your hips can bear a lot more weight than your shoulders or your spine can, and should really. First, I would like to show you my backpack. I got this after tons of research. It is the Osprey Aura series, and I've found this to be really awesome so far. It's very lightweight and it has a lot of compartments, so I have places to put everything if I want easy access to it. It also comes with a rain fly, so this go on the outside of your backpack if it starts to rain. That way it doesn't soak through your backpack and get your clothes and items wet while you're on the trail, because it's never fun to have damp everything while you're trying to hike. It also has this neat little mesh on the back that keeps your back from sweating too much. I know that sounds kind of gross, but you really don't want something that's going to be right up against your back the whole time, because it's really uncomfortable. Kevin's going to be carrying the tent in his backpack, so I'm not going to show you how to do that, but you would probably want to put it at the bottom here, because it's one of the heavier things. And a lot of packs, you can tie it to the outside, so you don't have to try and fit it inside the pack. But in my backpack, I like to put my sleeping bag at the bottom, because it has a compartment at the bottom here just for the sleeping bag. And then there are also these really nifty little ties. A lot of packs have straps all over the place, so strap as many things as you can to the outside of the pack, but don't make it be off balance or anything, because that'll save you space inside the pack for things that need to stay dry. And then I like to kind of fold these straps in so that they're not out and flapping all over the place while I'm hiking. And then the next heavier thing that I have to put in my pack is probably the food. So I'll put this towards the bottom and the middle of the pack. And inside I have a compartment here. I'm gonna put my first aid kit in there, as well as my kindling. We can shove that kind of all the way to the bottom. You also kind of want to put things that you're not going to be using that often in the bottom. And then things that you're going to need more accessible, put them at the top and in the outside pouches. If you have a really good pack, usually there are zippers all around where you can get into these other compartments, even if they're in the middle. I'm going to take my map and put it on the outside here because I think I'll probably want to be looking at that somewhat often, so I want it to be more accessible. The toiletries I'll probably also put kind of in the compartment that's a little bit drier and towards the back of the pack. This chair is a little bit heavy, so I think I will also put that in next to the food and towards the bottom. I don't think I'll be using this too often, so I might put it on the side to help keep some of the other things in place and provide some padding. This is probably going to spray everywhere inside the pack, so I would recommend putting something like this in a bag of some sort. And the next thing I'm going to put in is my clothes. They're somewhat heavy compared to most of the other things in here. I'm going to put them on top of the bag of food. These are pretty lightweight, so I'm just going to put them in some of the side pockets on here. You want to be careful with your stove. Make sure that you keep it upright because the canister of the fuel, you don't really want it to be tilted. You don't want it to be anywhere where it's going to get a lot of humidity or heat. You just kind of want to keep an eye on it. And the shovel and the baby wipes, somewhat heavy, so I'm going to try to squish them down toward the bottom of the pack. Extra bags for garbage, always nice to have those pretty accessible. And then I really like to put the toilet paper in the top compartment because up here it won't get squished. And then we have the SteriPen, which I kind of want to keep from getting banged around too much. So I'm going to put it on this inside pouch here. And of course, you always want to have some fun after a long day of hiking, so you just might want a little lightweight flask to take along with you. There are whole videos that can be done about how to fit your pack right, how heavy it should be, how you should pack everything in there, but really it's all about finding out what's comfortable for you. So the first step is really just to get out there and do a hike. Don't research too much, don't watch too many videos. Watch my video, of course. You do a ton of research to pick your gear and to figure out the best ways to do everything. That's great, and it will help you on the trail, but at some point you're just gonna have to get out there and do it. So please enjoy your hiking trip. Like I said, if you have any questions, just leave them in the comments and I'd be happy to let you know my take on it. Happy trails!